So, imagine this, Christmas is almost here, you've almost reached winter break and your parents are still scratching their heads about how to refinance that house mortgage. It's 2009 and despite the economic issues, you're still more preoccupied with building the courage to watch Caroline. But to take your mind off of this, you hop on Congregate and you click on what seems to be a Mario Kart clone. This is Big Pixel Racing, a 2D isometric racer developed by Big Pixel Studios and published in 2009. And today, I'm going to review it. Released in the beast period of Flash games and thanks to its peculiar combination of dogs and racing as well as its good looking graphics, Big Pixel Racing has been cemented as a very recognizable game for many of us. You can immediately tell the various sources of inspirations, the biggest one being obviously Mario Kart. With its simplistic controls and debuff system, it's a very familiar experience for many first-time players and it captivates them very quickly. Beginning with the graphics, for a Flash game, this game definitely does a great job as they are very appropriate for this platform and the artwork is very eye-catching with its use of bright saturated colors. The use of the 2D isometric style does certainly help it stand out more and it's a good compromise for the sake of performance, exposing the game to a larger audience. The UI is also very well integrated with the whole retro aesthetic of the game and it certainly gives it a more polished feel. The game technically has a story, but since it's a very simple linear one, I'm gonna group it along with the general world design and level design. The story presented to the player is a very straightforward one and it's fitting given the actual length of the game. Basically save your uncle from the antagonist and defeat him in all the races. The map is appropriately sized for an open world game of this kind, but the assets do get quite repetitive if you're just free roaming, but there isn't much point in doing so since the only places you can access are the races and the upgrade shop. The routes of the races are surprisingly diverse given the limited resources. From fast-paced short races to longer tracks and cuts with tight corners, it does a good job of engaging the driver's skills. Now, for the gameplay. The game is obviously entertaining enough for a lot of people including me, but the gameplay loop does get quite repetitive even for a Flash game. That would normally be glossed over since you can't expect too much, but there are some other problems regarding the controls as well as the debuff mechanics and AI racers. Firstly, the controls are quite lanky, as the steering is not very precise. It just feels like reversing, like the rear wheels control the direction and you sometimes get confused due to the car's orientation. Then there's the debuffs, which tend to affect the player quite a bit more than the AI. For example, whenever you get attacked and thrown to the opposite direction, you take a lot, and I mean a lot longer to recover than any AI car. More aggravating being the fact that even one of those episodes makes you lose the race. Finally, there's the general collision borders, which I felt were not consistent in some places and sometimes even cause you to flip in the wrong direction. This definitely caused a lot of frustration for my playthrough session and took away a lot of the enjoyment that I initially had. Aside from these issues, the mechanics are what you would expect from a racing game. For every race there's different levels of difficulty and you get an upgrade system which you definitely need to go through in order to finish the game. There's even a special truck race mode after you finish the storyline as well as some easter eggs such as the Armor Games and Big Pixel Studios buildings. The sound selection is what I would consider to be very good. The soundtrack is adequate in size and fits the game well, the sound effects for the various debuffs and buffs are also well made and do not feel out of place. The only thing that could have been done better is the normal engine noise, which is very monotonous and would have benefited from having a more realistic sounding engine like some other racing games. Now that I've reviewed all the parts of the game, it's time to give it a flash score. Starting with the graphics, the artwork is quite unique and the execution is well made given the various limitations of the platform, and it gets an 8 out of 10. The world design is nothing special with only the essentials being delivered, but since they're very appropriate for a Flash game, it gets a 6 out of 10. The gameplay is the most important factor of this game and it's good enough early on, but the experience degrades over time as you accumulate more and more time due to the aforementioned annoying aspects of the game, and it gets a 5 out of 10. The overall sound selection of the game is good and does not get tiring even later in the game, but there is still room for improvement and it gets an 8 out of 10. Rounded up and the score is 27 out of 40. Although it has its flaws, Big Pixel Racing manages to grasp our competitive nature through its gameplay and keeps us entertained all throughout the game. Thank you all so much for watching this Flash review, I'll see you next time and happy gaming!